So right now we're at the confluence where the Wire Pass Trailhead and the Buckskin Gulch meet. Right behind me is where we came from, the Wire Pass. It's kind of bright, but that back there is the Buckskin Gulch. I think, right? Yeah. All right. Well, we'll figure it out. So. It was May 10th, 2022 at 4:30 in the morning when we awoke to the sunrise at Lee's Ferry Lodge. We would be leaving a car at Lee's Ferry, where we would then catch a shuttle to the Wire Pass Trailhead to begin our hike down the world's longest slot canyon. Our hike begins at the Wire Pass Trailhead in Utah and meets up with the Colorado River approximately 50 miles later at Lee's Ferry in Arizona. Okay, so we've just started our hike down from Wire Pass. We're going to Lee's Ferry. We are hiking the Paria River. Right now we're making our way towards Buckskin Gulch. It's a little chilly this morning. I suspect it's going to get quite a bit warmer. We had a little bit of a problem getting here. Our first flight got canceled. We got rerouted. Instead of going to Phoenix, they flew us to Denver. That flight got delayed. So we were supposed to arrive at like 7 o'clock at night, but it turned into us arriving at like 10:30. And then we still had a 2.5 hour drive after we picked up a rental car to get to the lodge where we stayed last night, so we only got like 3.5 hours of sleep. And now we're hiking like some 14 miles down the world's longest slot canyon. Yeah, should be fun. It's almost like a road.
Yeah.
The trail starts off relatively flat, but soon turns into a slot canyon. Though it was beautiful in its own regards, it was just a taste of what was to come.
Exiting the slot canyon from Wire Pass Trailhead, we were welcomed by a towering Navajo sandstone amphitheater. Several petroglyphs sit at the base of the wall. Left hundreds of years ago by indigenous people of this area, their exact meaning and story are now lost to time. These are just the first of hundreds throughout this entire route.
So right now we're at the confluence where the Wire Pass Trailhead and the Buckskin Gulch meet. Right behind me is where we came from, the Wire Pass. It's kind of bright, but that back there is the Buckskin Gulch. So right now we're hiking through the Buckskin Gulch. This is super, super cool. It's shaded, so it's actually kind of chilly in here a little bit, but it's good temperature. It does feel good, really good. Alright, so here we are at camp. Took us a while to get here, but we finally made it. We're really tired, our legs are sore, shoulders are sore, but overall we're feeling pretty good. We got the first campsite just before the confluence, so we won't be seeing the Paria until tomorrow. But tonight we're just gonna set up camp right now and then make dinner, hang out, relax, and go to bed, and then get up and start hiking again tomorrow. Tomorrow won't be as long of a day. It'll be shorter in mileage, so it'll probably be more like a half day, be done by like lunchtime, late lunchtime, 1 or 2 o'clock or something like that. So it's kind of the plan right now, but we're gonna get camp set up. That way we can just kind of relax the rest of the evening.
Refueling with some much needed dinner, we turned in for the night and quickly sank into our sleeping pads. We were awoken in the middle of the night by a search helicopter, which was repeatedly scanning the canyon with its spotlight. I can only assume they were looking for a missing hiker.
Good morning, everyone. It's about 7 a.m. We slept in a little late. We just need to get a little extra rest, but we're not going as far today, so it's not as big of a deal. Didn't need to be on the trail super early, but got a little chilly last night. It's pretty cold right now, but once the sun kind of gets into the canyon a little bit more and the heat starts reflecting off the walls, it'll get a little warmer yet today. But plan is to continue down the canyon. We're going to get to the confluence today and then head down the Paria River and then continue hiking down the canyon.
That's the White House down there. Yep. Are you sure?
That's the Paria.
Hanging gardens along the sandstone wall mark freshwater springs, where travelers such as ourselves can fill our canteens.
So right now we're hiking through, it's called the Paria Narrows. We're still in a canyon. It's still gorgeous and the walls are amazing. It's not as narrow as the Buckskin Gulch. That's a slot canyon. But just in general, this is just incredible. Still making our way down the Paria Canyon. Right behind me there's the Paria River, and this is actually the big spring behind us, so that's a good source for water. It's about 5 miles from the confluence, so it's not too far away, which is nice. This is a nice, really sandy, beachy area. We still got some miles that we want to log yet today, so we're not going to stop here. But hello. If you were maybe coming the other way, if someone's coming the other way, this would be a really cool spot to stop. But it's nice because the spring is right behind you there, so you don't have to filter much of your water, and it's instead of coming out of the Paria, which is pretty salty. So we're just going to take a quick break here. We're letting our feet dry out a little bit, airing our boots out, airing our socks out. We're going to fill up on water again, and then we're going to continue down the Paria River.
Every hiker definitely gets wet on this trail. The variation of water, sand, rock, and dry mud make for an interesting traverse. I even had my own run-in with some quicksand.
Not now. I was just cleaning off my clothes.
Can I do a fake commercial?
Sure.
Okay, tell me when you're ready.
I'm ready.
I'm not gonna be able to do it without laughing. Okay. Wow, I really love my Trailtopia Cajun smack chicken. It's so good. It's spicy. It's so spicy. I'm joking. Really good. I can't even drink my water. Would recommend. Ugh. Are you done filming yet?
As we settle in for the night on our second day, I lay peering through the mesh of my tent, fixated on the towering red walls backed by the Milky Way.
All right, so it is day 3. We're still making our way down the Paria Narrows. It's about 6:40 in the morning. We're following along the Paria River. Getting not a super early start today, but a little bit earlier than yesterday. Making our way down the Paria Canyon. And we're gonna be trying to get to the point where right about before the narrows end and the canyon kind of opens up to camp, and then we'll go from there.
We were making good time for our third day. At 25 miles in, we took a detour up Rather Canyon in search for the Rather Arch, an absolutely massive natural geological structure. We returned to the river and continued on trail, and a short while later came across some more petroglyphs, carved high into the rock face above the river.
Alright, so it's the end of our fourth night here in the Paria Canyon. We went about 10 miles today or so. So we're just getting a camp button up right now. The wind's really picking up, the sand's really blowing around. We're gonna get an early start again tomorrow and try and crush a lot of the miles that we have left. We only have 13 miles left to go on the trail, 13 or 14, but we still want to have a full fourth day in here, so we're not going to do all the miles tomorrow. We're going to split that maybe in half or get down to like the last 5 miles. That way our last day is an easy hike out. So right now we're camped at what's known on the map as the last spring. It's the last good spring. It's just off of the river there, but it's just the last good spring until you get to Lee's Ferry. You can still take water from the Paria River, but it's a lot more pathogens in it, and there's a high salt content in it, so that kind of sucks. So yeah, so sun's sinking pretty quick. I'm not sure what time it is, I haven't checked, but yeah, we're gonna just finish button up camp here, and then we're gonna head on to bed and get up in the morning, have some breakfast, and start hiking.
Collecting water from the last reliable spring, we filled our bottles and set off on our fourth day. Every morning the temps sit in the 40s, only warming when the walls begin reflecting the sun's light. Today, as we continue along the river, the walls of the canyon begin to drift further and further apart, opening up to the Arizona desert landscape.
Don't take me. Thank God for trekking poles.
No. All right, so we hung out here for quite a while, a few hours. It got pretty hot once the valley opened up, so we decided to sit under some shade for like, what, 3-4 hours, something like that. And now we're gonna, now that the sun's dipped a little bit lower, we're gonna continue down the river here and then hopefully find a spot. We're just gonna knock off a few more miles before tomorrow's hike that's gonna take us on out of here.
Soon we arrived at a historical Native American site. Boulders covered with hundreds of petroglyphs scattered the landscape. We made camp just as the last bit of light sank below the rocky backdrop. Our final camp put us at just 6.5 miles from Lee's Ferry. Our plan was to wake early and finish our hike before the heat of the day could take its toll on our bodies.
Yeah,
Easy access to the water.
I was literally just thinking, I'm really bummed we didn't find this early.
Yeah.
All right, so we made it to camp. It's pretty much dusk at this point. Yeah, just enough light for us to get set up here, get some dinner cooking. Made it about where we wanted to today, so that worked out. Unfortunately, it got pretty hot, so we had to sit and wait a little bit before we could actually move on, so that kind of sucked, but not a big deal. However, we did come across some Native American petroglyphs, and we got to check those out. There's actually quite a few of them, so it was pretty cool to go explore that for a while. It's kind of what put us behind a little bit, is we probably took too much time doing that. That's all right, still really cool to see. So we're getting kind of tidied up here. We're gonna finish making dinner. We're gonna get water collected for tomorrow for our final day, our final hike out. We've got a pretty cool campsite here. Wish I would have found it earlier. It's actually really cozy. So yeah, so tomorrow's our final day. We're excited. I'm excited to get out, but sad the trail's going to be over, unfortunately.
Just as we zipped up the tent door and surrendered our heads to the pillows, the wind began to pick up, blowing away any lingering heat left over from the day. The final leg of our journey started before the sun broke the horizon. We set off with the morning chill, leaving boot prints with our first few steps of our last 6 miles. Though we were racing to beat the heat, these last few miles had plenty of history woven in them, and still had stories to tell. We signed the log at the end, marking our safe passage through the canyon. With so much history embedded into this canyon, I take my last few steps on trail, making our hike now a part of its history. Though my name is not embedded into the rock, and our footprints will soon wash away, we have become one of many who have been making this same journey for more than 1,000 years.